Madam Clerk?
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, notice of which was sent to the record in the Star Ledger and was posted on the municipal bulletin board.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Here.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Would everybody please rise for the flag salute, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we're going to approve some minutes. I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes for December 22nd, both the CAL and the regular meeting.
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, city managers report, please.
Certainly, what's been on everybody's mind is the continuous snow, and particularly ice, that we've been getting over the last couple weeks. I will say that we're in shortage of salt up until today. The county has come through getting additional salt through the buying group by opening it up to some other suppliers. Morton Salt, unfortunately, was not delivering on time or the quantities that are not only needed for the county, but also for just about every municipality in the county's buying group. So we are not alone. We are also looking independently for the city, which may require some additional resolutions in the near future, reaching out to other buying groups from other counties, which I have done as a manager in my past life, where you can belong to another buying group and you can also then go to that buying group and purchase salt if necessary, which may be tied to another supplier. There's about, I think, 4 different major salt suppliers. So we're looking at different buying groups that have different contracts. Obviously, the tonnage or the per dollar tonnage cost will change depending on which buying group you're going through, because it's all done through a bidding process. I think our crew did an admirable job. It was not perfect. We've had a lot of enforcement with trying to get vehicles moved. There's still either a lack of knowledge or a lack of willingness on the part of some folks not wanting to move their vehicles, which we are working towards doing that as kindly and gently as possible, but with enforcement. The one thing common question that I always hear is the street cleaning sign. Street cleaning means snow, and it means street sweeping. There was some misunderstanding on that, so hopefully we're getting that across to the public. We still have some issues with some of our snow routes, people not moving fast enough. We have a tandem team of police and the Department of Public Works that have been working diligently to clear out roads that have become difficult, and I think we have caught up. Now let's hope we don't get snow on Thursday, Saturday, and Tuesday, which is predicted, but I think we're doing okay. Not perfect. I'll never claim to be perfect, but I think I'll just give you a quick story. I have a friend of mine who is a road supervisor in Clifton, and he grabbed me and said, "What are you guys doing? I was in Hackensack, and your roads looked really good, a lot better than Clifton's. You police enforcing?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, the police won't do it in Clifton.
Right.
So, I think we're doing a good job under the circumstances. So that's that item. And the second item is near and dear to my heart. I don't know if the pitchers and catchers have reported to camp yet, Major League, but our Hackensack baseball registration for 2015 at the Recreation Center, the deadline is February 28th, so I would encourage anyone who has an interest for their children to play recreational baseball to sign up and keep America's best pastime moving forward. And that ends the manager's report.
Okay, very good. With that, Resolution 48-15.
This is a resolution authorizing a refund for Hackensack Youth Basketball registration.
May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 49-15.
The resolution to amend Resolution 512-13 for the Housing Authority appointment.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second. Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 50-15.
This is a resolution for the transfer of the 2014 budget appropriations, and just before you ask for a motion on this, there is a typo. The third paragraph, the amount should read 138,000, not the 115 that's in there. We changed this resolution a couple times and we missed that one.
Okay, I see it. I didn't see that before. Okay.
And now we need a motion.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 51-15.
This is a resolution for emergency temporary appropriations prior to the adoption of the budget per NJSA 40A:4-20.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer. Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 52-15.
This is a resolution authorizing the City of Hackensack to apply for the NJDOT Transit Village Initiative.
May I have a motion, please?
Offered.
Second. Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 53-15.
This is a release of professional fees that are held in escrow.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 54-15.
This is a resolution to award the contract for sanitary and storm separation Phase 1 to P&M Construction.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second. Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 55-15, payment of the bills.
Authorizing the payment of bills. This is the February 10th, 2015 bills list. The current fund is $10,873,776.73. Grants, $787.40. Payroll, $1,462,042. Public parking, $5,500. Capital, $146,299.33. Trust account, $95,360.21 for total expenditures of $12,583,715.09. The interfunds and transfers were $23,217.09.
May I have a motion to pay the bills, please?
Offer. Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, that was a short one. Okay, motion open to the public, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anybody who'd like to speak, please come to the podium, give your name and address to the clerk. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Richard Salkin, Hackensack, New Jersey. I have really just a couple of questions. In reviewing the city attorney's bill for December, there's references to an HUMC settlement. And I don't want to direct this to you, Mayor, because I don't want to put you in a conflict situation, because that's your employer. Can I just direct this to either to the deputy mayor or to Mr. Scrivo? What's going on between the city and the medical center?
Mayor, that is a matter of, through you, some attorney-client privilege, but there are tax appeal issues
That's
that
it.
have gone on,
Okay.
and that's, we don't really handle it, but I became involved in, on a minor aspect of that.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
And I must say, I, you know, as a taxpayer, with respect to the city attorney's firm's bills, I object to this. December 5th, review MDMC pre-bills to Hackensack. I don't think that the city should be paying the city attorney to prepare a bill. This one really bothers me.
Mayor, if I could jump in on that, the city doesn't pay for that bill because it is part of the
Retainer, right?
$15,000 retainer, so, in terms of, I don't know what that entry was, but, you know, for someone to record their time, for the city, it doesn't add anything to the city's bill. Obviously, I think that we could, we will not bill for that anymore. We will not even record that time anymore. Mayor, I do agree with the resident.
When he's mad at me, he calls me a resident, I've noticed.
I always call him
No,
resident.
you don't. Sometimes it's even Rick, you know, Tom.
Never first names.
Well, you better go back and let's go to the videotape. And along those lines, and my final remark, December 13th, city attorney's firm, review Bergen Record article, Ray, rules of order ordinance. I don't want to pay you or any of your colleagues to read the newspaper, Mr. City Attorney. I think that's wrong.
Again, Mayor, he's not paying, no one's paying for it because it's part of the retainer. So with the
Well,
thousands of entries that are put against that retainer on, in the last year, we certainly won't record any more time for reviewing newspaper articles.
Well, I just briefly respond. I don't want to engage you in a debate that I'm sure I would lose, Mr. Scrivo, but there's lists of hours and it goes towards the retainer. But that has to be full, and I got a feeling that if it came up not at the level of $15,000, people who are concerned with fiscal issues would say, let's not pay, let's renegotiate that. So it has relevance. So I would just ask you to be more frugal and
Mayor, if there's anyone who wants to renegotiate that deal, it's the speaker right now, because the city, even at the city's rate of $150 an hour that it pays all council, the city has received the benefit of more than 600 hours of free legal advice from the McElroy Deutsch firm as a result of the engagement that this governing body negotiated with this city attorney a year ago. So you're 600 hours ahead on just on the hourly rates for our firm.
How much you charge? Salkin.
Lenny.
Enough
Sorry.
of this crap.
It's his time, Lenny. Go ahead, Mr. Salkin.
was it something I said?
No.
Yeah, it was.
Lenny. When you're at the podium, you
I
can
thought
speak.
Joe Ziza charged too much. I think Tom Scrivo charged too much. I didn't charge so much. But what are you gonna do? You get what you pay for.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
If you want to interrupt, let us start now.
Lenny. Officer. Lenny. Lenny. Please have a seat and be quiet until it's your turn at the podium, please. Thank you. Just stay close.
Fiscally, Hackensack. I'd like to thank the mayor for giving me an update on what's going on with the TV channel and to all the councilmen that are working on that. I think that would be a great improvement. It also should be in Spanish, in any other language so that all the residents can benefit from that channel. Now, I see that we're gonna spend $2 million on a storm separation study that was done 40 years ago. It was done 30 years ago. It was done 25 years ago, and it was done 20 years ago. The cost then was astronomical per mile. Now, my point is that this is gonna be totally funded by taxpayers. Maybe we should stop playing with that horticultural center, stop that talk about converting Main Street to two ways, stop talking about building things down in the Fashini Fields, and any other money expenditures that the city is talking about doing, and let's work full-time on this sewer separation that I believe the state says we have so many years to do it within. And if it's gonna cost $2 million just to study it, can you imagine what it's gonna cost to do the mains and the laterals? And Hackensack is still one of the only towns that do not charge new construction money towards the upgrades of any superstructures within the city. To build, to expand in the hospitals in other towns, you gotta supply parking up to the sewers, the water systems. Not in Hackensack. Those new buildings on Main Street, they're not putting a dime towards that sewer system that the taxpayers are gonna pay.
That's,
That's all I have, thank you. Oh,
just want to, Chris, I just want to respond, that's not true. There is a new, and it's a new ordinance, actually, a sewer hookup fee. For every unit built in the city of Hackensack, there's a sewer hookup fee, which is pretty, am I allowed to put that number out there?
Well,
What's
the
next?
current ordinance is $1,000.
It's currently at 1,000, but it will be moving up considerably higher. 1,000 per unit just to hook up the sewer. So, and that money goes towards the fund. Now, I understand there's been a lot of project studies done before. This is a little different the way it's done this time. As part of the rehabilitation plan, we had to undertake a sewer separation as part of it. You're saying all that, mainly this is the trunk lines. You're not going to get all the branch lines through the whole city done. It'll never happen. Nor, I think, it's unrealistic to even do that. I think every single line throughout the city.
But if you don't separate the trunk,
I realize there's still going to be a mix. Yep.
doing the middle is a waste of our money.
The way it's done, I wish Fran's gone, right?
No, I can speak to some.
Go ahead, speak to that, please.
$2 million is actually not design, it's actually implementation.
To do it.
Yes,
It's the beginning.
it's the beginning. That's an implementation
Phase one of
project.
3 phases.
We are working with DEP. We are getting some grant money to do some continuing studies, which is another phase, to investigate the lines so that we can understand what the eventual costs will be.
I believe it
And
was
the
$250,000 a month.
The DEP,
Of course.
the DEP requires us to keep on progressing, and we are ahead of the game compared to a lot of the other cities in our situation. We have not been fined. We are following their rules, their guidelines, and we will continue to implement. And the cost to address this issue, and some of the estimations that I've looked at in the studies, and I don't want to scare anybody with numbers, but this city, nor Jersey City, nor Newark,
Or Patterson.
or Patterson can afford any of this. If this is actually going to get corrected, the federal government is going to have to step in and provide some of the funds. Otherwise, it's not happening, period.
They did 40 years ago, Jersey City built the football stadium because that's what the taxpayers would enjoy. And they didn't put it into the sewer. We had an agreement with the DEP that if we kept the floodgates closed and opened them 1 hour after the storm and closed them after the storm ended, we could continue until one of the DPW directors down there said, you know what, that's a lot of work. Leave the gates open, and the DEP came up in a boat and charged us half a million dollars in fines. And then they said, you see that piece of paper you have? Rip it up because it's no longer valid.
All right, Chris, thank you for your time. Your 5 minutes is up. Thank you, sir. Next, please.
I'm Richard Serbo, Hackensack, New
how are
Jersey.
you?
How are you?
Good.
I saw the mayor on Main Street recently, and I mentioned a few things to him. First of all, you should be funding the cultural center, not, as someone mentioned, to not fund it. It should be funded. And I brought up a suggestion to even support the next show with an ad in the playbill, and I got no answer from no one or anyone, which is correct, I think. Mr. Trost, I brought it up to, Mr. Mayor, not one peep to support the,
Well, my answer was, I did give you an answer, but my answer
gonna
was
put
I
a
would
PAC
not, I would
article in there?
be uncomfortable doing with taxpayer money. We would have to do it on our own.
so I'm talking about $50, okay? So, it's a small ad, it just shows support. It gives the right message to everyone coming to the show that, hey, wow, Hackensack is on board with cultural projects in town. Okay, well, we'll stop there. As for not being able to afford things, I hear that a lot, but no one has mentioned anything since you guys were in debate before the election of when you're going to stand up to the public employee unions in town. If they're going to run the town, there's going to be a change, okay? There has to be, because their salaries are increasing every year. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to mention rents increase every year. Now, don't you okay that also? Don't you okay rents?
No, we don't do rent control. There's a rent stabilization board, but we do not control rents.
Yeah, but aren't they allowed a certain increase every year, the landlords?
I don't know on our ordinance.
think
I'm
so.
I'm not sure of our ordinance on that, to be honest with you.
Well,
I don't
you
think
have
that's done
some
at our
oversight
level.
over the rent board, don't you? Or you have some sort of influence over them, don't you? Don't you speak to
Not
them?
at all. The rent stabilization board's almost been defunct in this town. No, I know, by law, we're required to have one, I believe.
Okay, well, rents, of course, taxes, everything is unaffordable because of salaries, okay? We have police, fire, teachers, everyone, custodians, everything is a increase every year that's unquestioned. So I'm not sure when somebody is going to stand up to that. It takes a little leadership. But I mean, you can get your house in order and get us back to solvency here in Hackensack. Okay, last thing, I'll be brief, is the president recently mentioned an idea, I guess, to have 2 years free of community college for everyone. I think it's a great idea, and it gives us an opportunity to pare down our public schools. Maybe we can combine some grades. Maybe we can cut out some grades even, because kids that are going on to higher education are going to go anyway. So let's cut it off, send them to community college, and the kids that don't want to go on to higher education can get started right away in the work world with an apprenticeship or some kind of trade school. It's got to happen. The monolith of education needs to be, broken. It's too expensive. All these towns are awfully expensive. There's 90 of them in Bergen County, correct? Isn't that correct? And it's sort of a Byzantine structure we've created. How many? 70. 70, okay. Well, 70. And it's become sort of a Byzantine structure here in New Jersey that all this government is, let's combine some of it. Let's pare down things. Let's be innovative. Let's have new ideas, okay? Also, I'll bring up this last idea that I had months ago, and the deciduous trees in the Northeast are dropping leaves every year that can be used for fuel. Now, I mean, Mr. Trost may have an interest in that, but again, there's silence. I brought this up months ago. But, those leaves can be used as fuel instead of raking them up, picking them up and having the city, it costs the city millions of dollars. So, I got no response on that also. So let's start thinking in a new direction. I mean, let's change things. Let's do something. Let's move forward, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Pierre S. Gaylord, and I live in Hackensack. I'd like to know the council's rule on Standish Avenue, which is supposed to be a snow emergency street.
Our rule is, if it's a snow route, a snow emergency, if there's a sign saying no parking when road is snow covered, if there's gonna be a storm in excess of 3 inches, they are supposed to get their car off the street. That's what I understand.
Well, since the last 3 storms that we had, cars were parked there. I called down. I stopped the sergeant in the street. I stopped the patrolman in the street. And of the 3 times, they only came 1 time. And the car was buried. Now, if it's a snow emergency street, and they have to clear both sides, not do one side, which they've been doing for the last 30 years.
I agree.
On the upbound from Polyfry Road. They do not know what from Summit down. Over the last, not the second one, storm we had, somebody came down the hill and went into the corner house on Ames and Standish, which is a monster corner. The DPW knows it very well. And they don't know the down portion of that street. Because I watch them every time they come.
You're saying the plow went into the house?
A little car.
A car?
Previous times, the plow went into the guy's house. Number 2, on same block, Standish Avenue, from Polyfly, Ames, Hopper is the up portion, and if you're coming from Summit, it's an up portion, so it goes like this. Myself personally, I had an accident due to mirror smacking due to the fact that the car's parked on both sides.
That was in a snow event
No,
also?
that was on a dry day.
On a dry day.
Right now, right presently, there's cars parked on that hill all the time. Because most of those cars are from the apartment house down the hill. Because people have homes, I would say 90% put them in the driveway.
What street is that?
Ames. I mean, it's Standish Avenue.
That's on Standish also?
Yeah,
Coming
that's
down.
the street in which the firehouse goes to 80 all the
Right.
time. Now, I don't understand how this ruling came about. Let's say we're looking at Polyfly, we're going up. On the right-hand side, no parking. Soon as you hit Kent Avenue, you can park. There's no streets going through on that side. Why is there a difference from one part of the hill and the other side of the hill on the same side?
I'd have to have traffic look at it.
Okay, and also on that, every one of those corners on the other side do not have the place, what do you call that pad for the blind people on the corners?
Oh, there's
It's
a
the
name
red
for it, I
track.
can't think of
You
it.
have the red things,
Yes.
yeah,
Right.
right? Well, they have none on those blocks and Mary Street as well,
Are there handicap
for the handicap,
sidewalks?
yes.
There's handicap sidewalks, but no,
No,
there's no handicap sidewalks.
no,
Can
they
you
both
give-
have to be done,
Can you give me those intersections again?
surely.
Well, we're in the middle of an ongoing ADA project with that throughout the city.
It's Standish
It's-
Avenue,
Standish?
from Ames to Summit.
I'm sure there's quite a few in town that haven't been finished yet.
Is there a crosswalk there?
No, not on that one side.
All right, well, if there's a crosswalk, you're not.
I'm talking about the other side. This side is all one street, no streets keep on going. All on the left-hand side, they go to Mary.
We'll look into it.
Okay, so they will be plowing both sides of the street? Or are they not gonna plow both sides of the street?
I have to look at it. I have not been over that part of town. I have to check with the police department and DPW, see if they're complying the best they can with the ordinance and making sure that the residents move when they're supposed to move.
Well, I can tell you, I have, for myself, I'm saying.
I hope I have more success.
Okay. My cars, I send stickers, because the way I interpret the sign, no parking, if it's snow out there, you don't park, completely. The way I understand the sign that's posted on the poles. Now, that's the way I interpret it.
You're correct.
Well, like I
I
said.
wish you had called my office.
Well, I would like to have your number, you be busy.
Okay. Pierre, your 5 minutes is up. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council,
Good evening, sir. How are you?
residents. Mr. Mayor, my name is James Irwin. I live at 40 Jefferson Street. Mr. Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
I want to introduce myself to you again because you and I are going to be locked at the hip every meeting until the ordinance is at least placed on the agenda for a vote for the age to raise to purchase tobacco products from 19 to 21. And I say it for this reason. You got a couple of years on me, so I'm going to take you back to something you remember. A gentleman by the name of Darrell Winfield. You may not know his name, but you know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's the Marlboro Man, the original.
Yes, I do know who he is. I saw it online. He just died recently.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There were 4 other men that were Marlboro men. Aside from Mr. Winfield, who did not disclose, his family did not disclose how he died. He was a lifelong smoker. The other 4 men were lifelong smokers. They all died of lung cancer. Every last one of them. Mr. Winfield, again, his family did not disclose how he died. Now, the city of Hackensack, motto is the city in motion. You're making moves to progress the city. We hear words like progress, move forward. I'm imploring the council and you, Mr. Mayor, since you are at the helm of this city and this council, to put the ordinance up for a vote and let the council as a whole decide up or down and let the residents know how each member feels and let it come to a vote. The residents want it. Let the merchants come and tell you why. If they don't want it raised, let them come and tell you why. You got about 10%, according to the last census, 10% of your population is between 18 and 24. If you were to assume whatever amount that you wanted, that percentage of the Hackensack population smokes, all right? And then go to the merchants and ask them, when they come to your store, what are you buying? You're not buying household items. You're not buying a laundry list of things, Mr. Mayor. Anyone that's 19 or 20, they come into the store, they're buying a pack of cigarettes, they're buying cigars, right? All of those items, both of those items are at a state minimum. So their profit margin on it is minimal, it's pennies. They will tell you that. They will also tell you that they're not buying $20 and $30 and $40 worth of items. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I used to purchase cigars when I was that age. And I purchased them for one reason only, to smoke marijuana, period. You go to the store, you buy your cigarettes and a Snapple, you buy your Dutch Masters or your cigarellos. We all know that story with cigarellos. And you buy a pack of gum, a piece of candy, and you go do whatever you're gonna do. The motto of this town is a city in motion. Don't change it to come to Hackensack, young person, and buy your cigarettes because you can't do it in Inglewood and Teaneck, or Pagoda, or Maywood, or Little Ferry, or Garfield, or Rutherford, East Rutherford, Carlstadt, because I've been to all of those towns, and I'm going to all towns in Bergen County until this ordinance is at least brought up on the agenda for a vote. That's how adamant I feel about it. I know what smoking can do. It doesn't cause cancer in 100% of the cases, but it leads to cancer in a lot of cases. It leads to throat cancer, oral types of cancer. The things that are in tobacco, in cigarette products, can kill you. They're lethal. You wouldn't take them in any other form. So allow the council to bring it up for a vote. Let each council member, including yourself, take a stand on it. It's not going to stop people from moving here. 19 and 20-year-olds don't buy real estate. It's not going to stop families from coming here to want to live here. It might encourage them. So I'm asking you, Mr. Mayor, put it up for a vote, because the other towns are considering it. You said that you were going to speak to Inglewood and Teaneck to see the effect. Where the merchants at? They can write letters. Where they at?
I'm sorry, Mr. Jefferson, your 5 minutes is up.
Irwin,
But I will-
E-R-W-I-N. That's my last name, Mr. Irwin.
Say quickly,
I
have
live
been-
at 40 Jefferson
I have
Street.
been in
I'm sorry.
contact with the Teaneck mayor. We have had limited discussion on this, but it's a continuing discussion that will be going on until and it will go for a vote eventually.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, please.
Good evening, Kathleen Salvo, Hudson Street, Hackensack. Disappointed to see we added another one to the list where it says no smoking, no parking. Got smoking on the mind. No parking when road is snow covered. And I've been in touch with Mr. Trost about a couple of problems that we did have, and it all comes from enforcing the law. The sign is there and it says no parking when road is snow covered, and I too, like the person before, had 3 cases in 3 streets that I got phone calls that for 3 snowstorms it wasn't enforced. And we did have a meeting, and we think we're going to resolve it. Because what happens is that the streets, and there are 70 of them, I counted them, and they weren't just drawn out of a hat. They were picked because of the problems of either they were too narrow like Lodi Street and Washington Avenue, or they were streets that were used for emergency routes. And he's right. If we don't clean it when it happens, you can't go back and do it. And it's really, and they did a heck of a job. I want to give credit to our DPW. These storms, one after another, with the ice and everything else, they're doing an excellent job in cleaning Hackensack. There are a couple of things that they didn't do, but we're a big town. They have to do the parks. They have to do anything that belongs to us. They have to do municipal lots. There's a lot to do on their plate, and it's a big, big job. And the hills that have been icy and everything else. So we do need enforcement. We do need the police, the traffic department to come in and help them. And there's no reason, if the sign says no parking when road is snow covered, there's no gray lines here. There was a misconfusion about the website said 2 or 3 inches, but that has nothing to do with this. If the sign says no parking when snow covered, that's what it should be. I have a problem with this combined sewer problem, and it has been a problem, and we in Hackensack, the taxpayers, have been looking to solve this problem for years. I agree with whoever said it, and I forgot who it was, that we shouldn't be paying for this. This $2 million, and it is going towards separation, should be for the people who lived here and paid taxes all their lives to try to get this problem resolved, not for new people that are coming in. And we did have a building moratorium on in 1989. We stopped everybody because we knew that we could not handle the sewage that we had to contend with. So by bringing more people in, you're going to only magnify the problem and make it worse. It's gross in this day and age to see combined, like I said, I took the river cruise, and we do it in 2 locations to have that come out into the river. And people do get sick, because then when you go down by the river to clean up the river, there's all this bacteria. Even third world countries don't have this. Nobody dumps sewage into the river. It is illegal. And last year, Christie lifted it because he saw that people couldn't afford to take care of it. But if we can afford to do it, they should pay for everything. Nothing should come from the taxpayers. Whatever the sewer fee is, increase it so they pay for it. We shouldn't have to pay for the developer who's coming in to bring us problems, because we're gonna get problems with the schools. We don't have enough room for what's here, and now we're gonna have problems with the sewers. In Florida, they make them pay for the streets, they make them pay for the sewers, they make them pay for the traffic lights. And we're going to be footing this bill for the developer. Why? They're not giving us anything. If they give us ratables, we're gonna be paying it back in schools. And the Cultural Arts Center, there is a budget for that. We give them money. And guys, what happened to our recreation for the kids? Our cultural art is one phase of everything. That's giving the developers a reason to come in and put their apartments there. We promised our kids that we were going to do something for recreation. We were going to give them a pool, we're going to give them a rec center, and all of a sudden, all this money is going towards the developers. And what happened to the people of Hackensack? Take care of us first. And you're a people, not these new people that are coming in. So I really sincerely think that the storm money should be spent for people on Central Avenue, that when you go past, you could smell the sewer. It's disgusting. It should be done for what we have here and not bring anybody in to make the problem worse. They should pay for the entire system. Nothing should be left to the taxpayers. There should be the incentive to come into Hackensack. If you want to come here, take care of the sewer problem. And that's about it. It's going to be a burden on the taxpayer in every respect. The other thing we should work with, and we have Board of Ed people here, it's a disaster every morning at every elementary school dropping the kids off. We need to work something in with our police department and our Board of Ed to get safety at drop-off points. Thank you.
Ms. Sauer. Next, please.
Regina DePasco, Parker Avenue. First, I want to commend Mr. Irwin for your dedication to this cause. Absolutely, I agree. It should it's 2 years, people, 2 years, 19 and 20. The age right now is 19, okay? That's 2 years. 2 years can mean somebody's life. 2 years can make a difference. It should get on. It should be, if the business people have them come here, if they're telling you that they are going to lose business, I don't want to hear that, they're whispering and whatever. Come here and say it publicly if they think they're going to lose business by changing it. Because we all have a right to hear what they have to say. And that's why you have a public meeting on it. If they don't come publicly, I don't know what their issue is. Because they haven't expressed it in public. The snow removal, the most thankless job in the world, snow removal. The first storm, Juno, that didn't happen, people found places to put their cars. It was amazing. My street was no cars parked on it. My street was plowed curb to curb. I think the first time since I've been in that house, my first day, my street was plowed curb to curb. After that, I don't know, why do the police not notice the cars that are parked there? Because clearly there were cars parked on Prospect Avenue when it was snow covered, because there's still 6 feet wide of snow from the curb, and there still is 6 feet wide of snow. Right now as we speak, snow between Essex and Kaplan, or Essex and Parker, in that area. There still is snow where cars were parked. There's between Essex and Atlantic, no, it's not Atlantic and Beach. I think there's some too. Cars were parked there. Those are all areas. Why do the police not enforce it? It's not enforced. They don't even enforce, I'm sorry, but on my street, yesterday, the opposite side of the street was street cleaning. Car parked there all day, covered with ice, and the ice surrounding it. A car was supposed to be moved by 7 a.m. That's how I knew that the street was covered with ice, though, because I saw it around the car that was parked. They don't enforce it. The car is there. It was there all day because she didn't have to drive her kids to school. And the enforcement is a huge, huge problem. And I don't understand. I just do not understand it, because the police drive down these streets. I don't know why they don't stop and take care of what needs to be taken care of. It boggles my mind. And it used to have, used to be Norman who used to go around on street cleaning day and make sure that cars were moved. I don't know that anybody does that anymore. But other than that, and the fact that 3 days after the snowstorm, when I was street cleaning on my side of the street, I got a foot of ice plowed into my driveway when I came home from work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So had to park in the street and dig my driveway out 3 days after a snowstorm of ice. But that's because cars were parked on the street. Although they're allowed to park on the street, but this is what you have to deal with. You know, it just, ugh, I hate snow right now. I'm not alone, I know. I know I'm not alone on that. You're talking about bills. I noticed, I saw that Mr. Scrivo had charged to review Miss Greenman's police report she filed against me. Should the city of Hackensack have paid for Mr. Scrivo to review that bill? Back in August, I guess Miss Greenman sent it to you. It was a lie. The police report is a lie. She filed a false police report, but the residents of Hackensack paid for Mr. Scrivo's office to review that. I can only assume Miss Greenman sent it to him, but did that come in under part of the retainer? Because that retainer is getting nickeled and dimed. And speaking of Miss Greenman, I was advised by the state Supreme Court clerk that her business address is 170 Prospect. What are we doing about this? The state Supreme Court clerk, who keeps track of attorney offices, tells me that's her office. Where are we going here? It's okay, she can do this? I don't think so. But the way she's held everybody else to the letter of the law, and sometimes a law that doesn't even exist, only, imaginary, how can she have her office there? And we're not a transit village yet, so Mr. Rotino cannot take credit for that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, you missed it, Lenny. That'd be a while to catch up to speed on that.
Have you ever met Lenny?
That was the last person.
Yeah, about that.
Lenny, you can-
Anybody else?
Lenny Nix. I've been looking onto the Main Street and Mercer Street project. I'm in the process of shutting it down. I somehow kind of lucked out or something because it's shut down. There's too many questions that haven't, there's no question, nothing's been answered. Number one, the Oprah request in the city, between the city clerk's help, downstairs, building department that know nothing about filling out an Oprah request. Building department wants me to fill out an Oprah request to get the plan for that project. No, doesn't work that way. He wants to put me out of the box for 7 days, take the Oprah request. He ought to take a walk and send him to school. I'm not going to educate people in this town that I pay for. The project, as far as I know, is horrendous. He has no business doing what he's doing as of 9 o'clock Tuesday night, according to me or anybody in the public. As far as I'm concerned, there are no records for that place. He has no permits, nothing. We got big problems and it ain't snow. I like snow. You just got to know how to deal with it. The city of Hackensack doesn't know how to deal with it. And all these problems, people came up here, they're fun. Doesn't matter. They're not problems. Main Street's a problem with snow. You can't. I went there Sunday or Saturday to buy something at a store where the big Main Street redevelopment project. And I'm not that agile as I used to be. I'm handicapped. I almost fell to put a stinking quarter in the stinking meter because I'm afraid the stinking cops are going to come and give me a stinking ticket on a snow day when I go buy a $25 pair of shoes.
You know, I said, it ain't gonna happen. You know what? Some stinking cop's gonna give me a stinking ticket. And the street sidewalk is a disaster area. Sunday, I said, okay, city's gonna get somebody down here to clean up when nobody's there. Sunday, I don't know where the heck anybody was. This town's got big, big problems. The sewer, $100 million it's gonna cost. That's what it's gonna cost, $100 million. Anybody up there that don't know it, ought to leave and get out the door right now. I'm ready to shut down all new construction in the city of Hackensack, like Mayor Servo did, which he was right at the time, and get those sewers and get that poop out of the river. And there's a story about me, the hospital, and doctors in that river I don't want to bring up tonight, but I got a lot of info on that river. I go all over the place in the state. I get thrown out of more meetings than you people have been to. Nothing's going right. This administration, I have no idea what you're doing, but every time I turn around, it's a total disaster. From the Oprah request, from the new people, are the same as the old people. And they're gonna end up same road the old people went down. Gone, history. Somebody better start learning how to run this city. The building department is a total disaster. Total disaster. I'm in the process, not in the process, past the process, talking to the New York Susquehanna Railroad. I got the train, I got the tracks, I got the right of way to run the New York Susquehanna Railroad from Patterson through the Edgewater Tunnel to the Hudson River. I got the Transit Village, Borg's property, the new property on Main Street. I had it. I had to put it together and get a couple bucks together. Nothing to do with New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit is a total waste. I've been to the meetings. They're going to spend more time on a $3 billion tunnel to nowhere like they did the last time. You gotta stay, you people gotta stay away from government. Don't ask for nothing from them. They got a $3 billion, talk about river, $3 billion to put levees on the Passaic River. It's a total waste of money. It ain't gonna happen. It's gonna happen just like the Passaic River tunnel. We gotta clean up that river yesterday. I'm gonna work with, not the state, I'm going federal, which is a federal regulation. The state of New Jersey is a dead dog. New Jersey Transit, dead dog.
Lenny, your 5 minutes is up, sir.
What?
Your 5 minutes is up.
You can let me talk longer if you want.
No, your 5
You
minutes,
don't
sir.
want me to talk, right?
No.
Everybody
Say you
gets
don't
5
want me to
minutes.
talk.
There's an ordinance for 5
I
minutes,
know
sir.
I say you don't want me to talk.
That's not the point. I have an ordinance to
You
follow.
have no business coming here unless he tells you. Is I right, Mayor?
Lenny, your 5 minutes is up. Please,
Mayor,
Lenny,
I don't want the cop following me around.
your 5 minutes is up. Please take a seat. Thank you.
I don't want the cop following me around.
Stop standing there because I'm asking you to take a seat. Thank you. Anyone else from the public? No, you can only come up once, sir. Sorry. Anyone else? Motion to close to the public?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Sims.
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay. Mr. Battaglia, any comments?
Well, I go around the city at night sometimes, and no question that the DPW did a good job. They can do better, no question, but we need more help from the residents, especially when the people got driveways, they have to put the cars inside the driveway. Will be more easy for DPW to do their job, right? Related to this, the police about the cigarettes, I am with you. I lost few relatives because they're smoking, so I am with the 21 years. Okay. What else we got? It's true that sometimes when you make changes, sometimes some people get irritated, but it's not easy to be here and try to do changes, to try to improve the city, because sometimes we are dragging problems for maybe 25 years, and we try to make changes to bring the city in a different direction, a good direction. So be with us that we are working to try to have a better city. Thank you.
All right, I'll try and address a couple of the questions. I know, Chris Coley, you talked a little bit about us trying to get our meetings televised. Just to update everyone, a couple of us spoke to some of the Board of Ed members about expediting this and making it work so that the Board of Ed and the city can work together to have this happen, and they assured us that they were going to pursue this and get back to us in a timely manner. So this is the most encouraging, words we've had so far. And, I'm thankful for those Board of Ed members. They're stepping up, and they said they're going to really help us make this happen. So that's a good thing. Someone brought up about the Cultural Arts Center and support for that. I think this council has shown full support of the Cultural Arts Center above and beyond. And, if you're really interested, if you go to our website, and from there you can go to the Alliance website, you'll see that the Alliance is now supporting something called creative placemaking. They've had 2 different meetings with members of the city, residents of the city who are involved in the arts, all aspects of the arts. And what they're in the process of doing right now is reaching out into the community and finding out what this city really wants. What do we really want to see as far as the arts in the city? What makes sense? What will people attend? What do they want? And this is a good step first step in the right direction. And if you're interested, some of their meetings are open to the public, so you can certainly go there and learn more about it. And I think it's very exciting to see the progress. And even, from the folks in the room involved, you have artists and you have people that are involved in music and dance. And I mean, even they were saying, from a networking perspective, there's people in the room that they never even talked to one another before. And this was a means to kind of force that to happen. And I think that's a very positive thing for the city. We've also been working on a multi-phased approach to getting our new Cultural Arts Center up and running. And we're really working very hard to try and make that happen. Make it happen as quickly as possible using a lot of the equipment that we currently have. So it won't be in its final stage, but it will be able to host even better productions because there's more room than we currently have, and alleviate some of the problems. I see Paul shaking his head, or some of the noise issues and stuff that we've had downtown. So I think that's also a very positive thing. In general, I mean, and talking, about, sure, we want to do things for our kids, we want to do things for recreation. A big part of what we've been explaining all along is the key to funding a lot of this is through increased rateable, so the burden doesn't come on our taxpayers. And the way to do that is through the redevelopment activities that we've taken on. And by increasing the ratables in the city, having more money in the city, that money in turn can then be used to fund the recreation programs and the other amenities that we know that have long been overlooked in the city. And, and this council is working very hard to see that and make those things happen. And change isn't easy. I agree. Sometimes it's hard to see the bigger picture, but we have to. And, we have to have a long-term goal, and we have to stay focused towards meeting that goal. And I assure you that we're all working very hard to that regard, and we appreciate your support. Be safe out there in the weather. We heard some talk about cars off the street. I agree. Mr. City Manager, are the lots, how did the folks know that these lots are available and city lots are available? Is that going to be posted on our website? Like, should we have a bad storm Thursday so people know where to park to get their cars off the street?
We'll use the Nixle system, and we'll do the best we can as far as notifying where, and if a lot of people don't want to park where there is parking available. Sometimes it's a drive, and they have to kind of pony up and get transported, so.
Well, we'll use you guys as advocates. You bring out a lot of good points, and you want the cars off your street, and I don't blame you, I do too. So, you know that this is a process. Go to your neighbors and say, hey, do you know that the city's opened up their lots free of charge, and you can park there, get your car off the street, so then when you return to your home, you don't have to shovel your car out, that everything, you can return and you can park by the curb. So we need to all work together as a community, communicate with our neighbors, because that's how we make these things happen. And the city is trying to provide an alternate means of parking during these snowstorms, and we need to take better advantage of that. I think it was Regina who said it was remarkable when what the streets looked like, because we were afraid of, 2 to 3 feet of snow. And I agree. The city, people can do it. They did get their cars off the street. So if they could do it for Juneau, they could be doing it for these other snowstorms too. So please encourage your neighbors, and everyone have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay? Rose?
I would like to thank you everyone for coming today. Mr. Irwin was very eloquent. Thank you very much for your presentation again. I think you're absolutely correct. Nice presentation from the heart. Mr. Serber has some great ideas. I see some new people coming in, and I thank you very much for coming and supporting the council. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Most of my conversation is going to be about snow. It's tough. Last year, we didn't enforce anything, and it was a total disaster. We had cars buried for weeks and weeks on snow routes, on emergency routes for the hospital. Our goal, and there was a lot of ticketing, I know that because I've gotten probably 24 phone calls from people who received tickets who felt they shouldn't have. Many of them are under the conception that the street sweeper didn't come by, so therefore I can park my car there. You can't. It's street cleaning. We've had that explained already. To the people watching this on YouTube, if you get out of your car and that sign says no parking when road is snow covered and we have 3 or more inches of snow, you're most likely going to get a ticket and or towed. We need to get a plan together to get the cars off the street. I do agree with Mr. Pasqua. There were areas where cars were off the street and it still wasn't curb to curb. That's our bad. That's something we need to work on. We got to get better at getting closer to the curb. It's a tough job doing all these streets, especially when there's cars on them. Our goal is to get all the cars off. If you're not on a snow route, I'm asking you, as the mayor of the city, to find a place, ask a neighbor anywheres to get your car. If we did it on my block, we had people one woman across the street doesn't have a car, we put 2 cars in her driveway from somebody who was parking on the street. It's got to be a community effort to clear these streets. It's important. And think of it this way, once the streets are cleared, you can put your car back on the street. Once you get that plow curb to curb, you can park on the street again. That's not a problem. You're not going to get a ticket once it's plowed. You shouldn't. Redevelopment. Not bringing redevelopment and ratables to this city would be a disaster. We have to do the sewers regardless. That's the law. They've got to be done. So why not get the money we can from these developers to do it, especially the sewer hookup fee, which is quite considerable. We are looking at grants, but yeah, there's going to be a burden on the city. You know, the city sewers are old, and no one's undertaken fixing them till this council came along. And we're doing everything we can. We have a plan. We have a 3-phase plan to get this done, and we're going to move forward with that plan. All the things like Mrs. Canestrino said, you're not going to get rec centers or pools or anything unless you bring ratables into this town. And Main Street, not for nothing, Main Street has, had a bad existence the last 20 years. There's been no activity really. I mean, there's a couple good restaurants and stuff, but it's picking up. But we need to redevelop that street. There's a lot of, and I'm not going to knock what type of businesses, but we need to get some businesses in there. We need some people living on the street. We need it to be more self-sufficient, and we need the ratables. The tobacco thing, we will discuss it. We will have a vote on that. It'll be democratic, and it will be what it will be. But I'm not done investigating all the information I want on it. The other thing is enforcement. We have to work with the police department to, obviously, all these cars on the street, it's not being enforced. We need to get tickets on these cars. All right? Everybody have a safe ride home, and have a good night. Motion to, do we need to go back?
No.
We need to go back.
We don't need to, Mayor.
Okay.
Might as well get over with it now. Leave it again for Thursday.
Okay.
You want to do it now?
Let's
All right,
just
motion
do
to
it.
go back into close.
Half an hour.
We have a few items we have to
10 o'clock.
finish up because
Okay,
we
we
wanted to
gotta be
get
done
back
at
out here. So we're going to go back into closed session.
All right, so we need a
Motion to go back into closed session?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia. Aye. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Sims. Aye. Councilmember Greenman. Aye. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Whereas Mayor and Council of the City of Hackensack deem it necessary to discuss certain actions under Section 7B7 and 7B8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, which pertains to matters falling within attorney-client privilege, ongoing litigation, and personnel matters concerning the employment of a current or prospective public employee. Whereas the mayor and council of the city of Hackensack is of the opinion that such circumstances may presently exist, and whereas the mayor and council wishes to discuss the following issues: personnel matters, ongoing litigation, matters involving attorney-client privilege. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the city of Hackensack deem it necessary to exclude the public from this discussion. The outcome of the discussion will be disclosed within 90 days, or at such time as the interests of the city do not require confidentiality. Anything other than what we mentioned before?
Nothing other than what we've mentioned.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a safe trip home.
I will commit to that.